Welcome to the I Am One podcast, where we talk to perinatal mental health advocates, professionals, and educators supporting the mission of Postpartum Support International. We're not afraid to ask our guests about the hardest parts of pregnancy and postpartum because we know that PSI has tools and resources to help in every situation, and everyone should know about them.
Whether you are among the 1 in 5 moms, 1 in 10 dads, one of many trans or non-binary parents, or you're one professional or advocate committed to helping folks in need, you are also one of us.
I'm your host, Danny Giddens, and I am 1 in 5. I didn't know what to call what I was experiencing after becoming a parent and felt too scared at the time to speak up.
Not anymore. Now she won't stop talking about it. Hi, I'm your co-host, Emily Jankowski. I'm also 1 in 5, and I want you to know that mental health complications are common, but they aren't normal.
There's something powerful in knowing I am one of many. Whether you're already connected to the perinatal mental health world, looking for new ways to support parents and families, or just want to hang out with us in your earbuds, we are so glad that you tuned in.
Of course they want to hang out with us. We're lovely. Seriously, though, the views, thoughts, and opinions expressed on this pod are the speaker's own. Tuning into this podcast is, spoiler alert, not a replacement for therapy, but PSI can help you find a therapist. We could also help you find a psychiatrist, a support group, or Waldo.
Emily, Waldo? Come on! We don't know where Waldo is.
Okay, fine. PSI help seekers can find peer support and resources in their area.
At PSI, we want you to know you are not alone, you are not to blame, and with help, you will be well. On today's episode, we're sitting down with the incomparable Charlotte RAMBERG, a perinatal mental health certified licensed professional counselor and advocate in North Georgia, who may just be one of the biggest helpers we know. Charlotte is a longtime volunteer of PSI who supports the perinatal population in too many ways to name. Just kidding. This is just the intro though, so you'll have to listen to the whole episode to hear the full list. We are thrilled that Charlotte was willing to share her experience with surrogacy, specifically as a gestational carrier for 2 wonderful families and soon for a 3rd and final family who were the latest grant recipients from the Surrogacy Foundation. As you can imagine, we had millions of questions, so without any further ado, please sit back, relax, and enjoy our attempt at keeping this episode to an hour with our friend Charlotte. Charlotte, welcome to the podcast studio. We are so excited that you are here today. We have known you for quite a while, and we finally have got you in the studio. We are excited to talk about something that nobody else on the podcast has ever talked about. So this is an I Am One podcast exclusive.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah. Our pleasure.
Let's jump right in.
Yeah.
Charlotte, can you introduce yourself? Are you like a Gemini? Do you like long walks on the beach?
Not a Gemini. I'm a Taurus.
Oh
my God. I'm a Gemini.
That's good to know. Taurus. Write that down.
So did you just have a birthday or is it coming up?
I just had a birthday on the 27th.
Happy birthday.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I think that about wraps up our interview. Charlotte's a Taurus, and
I'm a Taurus.
I think that's all we came here to ask. Right? No. Okay. Can you give us a little bit more of an introduction to who you are?
Yes, I can. So I'm Charlotte RAMBERG. I use she, her pronouns. I have 2 rambunctious and very spicy children of my own.
Spicy.
Very spicy.
I like that description.
Yes, they're very intelligent, but they use it to their advantage. So to my husband's and my disappointment, we have to then figure out how to handle that appropriately. They're at elementary school, so this is the first year. We have a kindergartner and first grader, so we now get to put them on the same bus. They come home at the same time, so everybody's on the same schedule, which is wonderful.
Next level unlocked.
Next level unlocked, yes. Very big accomplishment for our household. Unfortunately, though, they have early start elementary school, so they get on the bus at 6:30 a.m.
What?
Yes.
Wait a second. Pause the podcast. I'm sorry, what?
Who's awake at that hour?
Apparently we are. We live in Cumming, Georgia. We're in Forsyth County. which is about an hour north of Atlanta, Georgia. And we have so many elementary schools that we have to split up start time. So we have early start time and late start time. And unfortunately, there are more early start time elementary schools. So my kids get to start school when I started high school at 7 something.
Right.
Which I think my high school was like 7:10 and theirs starts at 7:40. But their bus comes through at 6:30 a.m.
My high school started at 7:15 or 7:20 or something like that. And I just have never heard of a school starting earlier than that until now. You're in the lead.
I don't want to be in the lead with this. So I don't want to be winning. I want to be asleep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That also means they get off the bus like in the middle of the day, right? Unless they do aftercare or something like that.
No, they don't. So they get out at 2 something in the evening and the bus comes around 3 o'clock.
Okay. Are you okay? I mean, it's like the middle of the day already for you. It's 10:45 in the morning. It's the middle of the day.
It is.
I feel like it's lunchtime in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that about wraps up our episode. No, hang on. Are we here for something else?
Yeah. Tell us about, your experience with perinatal mental health complications.
Personally, professionally, whatever you'd like to share, Charlotte. We're all ears.
I have a baby Yoda mat going into my office that says I'm all ears. So, very appropriate for a therapist. So
yes.
I am a therapist. I'm an LPC. I kind of entered the world of PSI prior to having my children. It was like a random Tuesday in the nonprofit office that I was working at the time, postgraduate, and a coworker of mine who had already had children had just mentioned the idea of, oh, I've learned this new topic, perinatal mental health. And that blew my mind as a newly graduate student, had just gotten married, hadn't had kids yet. So I started doing the research and looking more into PSI, and they had just come out with all of these trainings, and then come to find out they were going to be starting the certification program for PMHCs. So I was kind of in one of those first cohorts, if you will. I did my training for the PMHC in 2018 online. I think it was one of the first virtual ones.
Yeah.
And I was first trimester pregnant with my second, trying not to get sick while listening to all of the training.
Oh, gosh.
Yes. So that's how I kind of entered into that. And from there, I mean, I knew I was going to specialize in this. It picked me. I did not pick perinatal mental health. But personally, thankfully, I didn't have any type of disorder that was diagnosable, but that didn't mean that my postpartum period was without difficulties. With my first, it was very much so just sleep deprivation, trying to survive. I didn't quite comprehend what was happening because I had only heard worst case scenarios learning about the trainings.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, oh, it's fine. It's normal. I'm not diagnosable with any of this, so I should be good.
Yeah.
Should be. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of, after years later of working within the population, that I realized that I had dissociated a lot of that time, where I would just feed my baby and I would love on her and hang out with her, but I would then just sit her down and like not know what to do with her. And then come my second, he was born in the summer of 2019. I had ended maternity leave, then moved, then COVID hit. So I was stuck at home with a 2-year-old and a newborn. And we were living with family at the time because we had just moved to a new area and we're going to try to find a home of our own.
Mm-hmm.
And then COVID hit.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had a lot of intrusive thoughts and some fun experiences. But thankfully, I think honestly, because I was in the field, it saved me from going down this dark spiral where I knew that I wasn't alone. I knew what they were. I could name it. I could essentially just deal with it, if you will, to a point where I was able to just tell my husband, like, I need help. I need you to step in to do X, Y, and Z with the kids.
Oh, wow.
I can't do this anymore by myself. Like, I know you're working, but also you're working from home now. So that actually, I think COVID, as terrible as it was, it saved my marriage, even though it wasn't quite in jeopardy. It was just, it could have been at some point.
Right.
So now I'm in it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So you recognized, like, did it take you a while to recognize what was happening, or was it like, okay, something doesn't feel right? First time you were like really sleep deprived, you dissociated. The second time you were experiencing intrusive thoughts, like, were you shocked and surprised by that? And then, or like, were you like, oh, wait a second, hang on, this doesn't normally happen? Like, did you have the presence of mind to just go, this is like something new?
With my second, it was definitely the latter, because I had just, while I was pregnant with him, had just gone through the certification training. So I had a lot more vocabulary to use, and I was able to identify what was happening when it was happening. So again, I think it really did, having that knowledge ahead of time, which is why I harp so much about postpartum planning with my clients.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I had a frame to kind of see, where do I fall within this? With my first, it wasn't until a couple of years ago that I really realized what was happening, because that was pre-training. That was pre. Like, you
didn't know what you didn't know.
Right. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I was in survival mode, I think, just because having your first kid is such a monumental change, not just to you as a person and your identity, but literally everything.
Right.
That I just made it through.
You're like, I used to be able to keep breakables on the coffee table, yeah. And that's not my life anymore. Like,
okay, so you've had 2 of your own children, and as all of our listeners have noticed, obviously, by the time they're listening to this, the title of this episode has a little something to do with, carrying children that are not biologically yours. So yeah. Let's just get into it. Like, how did that come into your life? Yeah, tell us more, Charlotte.
Absolutely. Yeah, so kind of like PSI and perinatal mental health, I was introduced to the idea of surrogacy before I had my own children. I had a client who had just mentioned in passing that, oh yeah, I was a surrogate for somebody.
Mm-hmm. And you were like, oh.
Yeah, like, oh, okay. So it just sat back there in the back of my brain, and I had my 2 kids, and I was very fortunate to where I had textbook pregnancies, textbook births. There were no complications, no issues. I delivered both of my children, and Taurus here, very stubborn. I did the Bradley method, so I was unmedicated for both.
Uh-huh.
And I just thought to myself, I don't want any more kids of my own, but I definitely could do this again.
Like, we're at capacity in our house.
Yeah.
Right.
We can't have any more opinions about whatever. Okay.
Yes. So my husband and I, we knew ahead of time. We had those discussions. We knew we were only going to have 2. We only wanted 2. I'm the oldest of 6, so I know.
Oh, Charlotte.
I know what it's like to have a lot of siblings in the house, and it's a lot. And we didn't want the kids to outnumber us.
Yeah. Not a fan of zone defense. Okay. Yeah, that's good to know that.
Man on man is much easier.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those things where I'd always thought about it, but when I knew I was done, officially done, I had to have my second child, and COVID hit, I'm like, well, I've got a ton of extra time on my hands. So I did a lot of research online, came across this wonderful, wonderful agency called Family Makers, who the owner rather is, her name's Ashley Hammonds, and she was an intended parent. So I got to interview with her, kind of just learn more about the process. What does this look like? How can I do it? And my husband, thankfully, was very supportive. Also, he knows I'm stubborn and kind of knew I was going to get my way anyway.
Like, you do you.
Yeah. He just kind of like submits to like, oh, okay, all right, here's your idea. How are we going to make it happen now?
Cool.
And so I started in July of 2020 when my son hit 1 and I started to wean. I signed up with the agency and the rest is history.
Okay. And how many lives
have you changed?
Thanks, Emily.
I like to tell people I am responsible for 2 extra human beings being on this planet. I carried 2 little girls, one that was born in June of 2021, which is a very quick turnaround.
Oh, yeah.
It's unheard of within the surrogacy world. And then another baby who just celebrated her first birthday in March. So she was born of March last year. on Easter, actually.
What?
Yeah.
Oh
That's
my
cool.
gosh. Charlotte.
I know. So two live births. I did work with a couple in between then. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out, which is part of it. It happens. We had 2 failed transfers and then 1 blighted ovum, because you can have, generally it's 3 transfers per surrogacy contractor agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm starting the process again. So
Doing it again.
Guess who's back?
Back again. Charlotte's back. Back again.
yeah, actually, after we spoke the other day, I got a call from the clinic and we have a potential transfer date.
Oh, Charlotte.
Yeah.
When are you going to get knocked up?
June 13th, if all goes well.
Okay.
Cool.
Is it a Friday?
It is.
Oh my gosh.
It's going to be a Friday the 13th.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Halloween's my favorite holiday. So
my daughter was born in October and they are obsessed with all things creepy and scary. Halloween, they love it.
This is bananas.
I know.
How many times can you say, oh my gosh, Charlotte's about to get pregnant? She's getting knocked up tomorrow.
A lot.
You can do that. That's very exciting. So I have some questions. Can we go back in time a little bit? I'm curious about what it felt like carrying another child. What was like your mental health experience?
like during pregnancy and postpartum?
Yes, during pregnancy and postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you had all the supports in place. Were you going to a therapist regularly? Do you already do that? Let's get personal.
Yeah.
Personal. That's the name of the game in mental health.
We already know what day she's getting knocked up on. Like,
Yeah.
how much more personal are we going to get here?
That's fair. That is fair. Yeah. So it's fascinating because I actually learned so much more about my own field entering into the surrogacy world, because you have to be psychologically screened in order to even be approved to start the process of being a surrogate.
Okay, what does the screening include? Like,
They're like, first of all, what's your sign? And she's like, I'm a Taurus. And
I
they're
wasn't
like,
asked that.
No, I'm just kidding.
are they like, you don't need an SSRI, or are they like, what does that mean?
They pull so many things. They pull all your medical records, everything they possibly can get their hands on. They meaning the agency, if you're going through an agency, which they then turn into the clinic. And so looking off the records, the clinic will say yes or no to be able to proceed. So you haven't even been screened yet at this point. This is like the pre-screening of, do you even remotely qualify?
Like, I want to sign up to do this. And they're like, okay.
So they're looking for like blood pressure, whether or not pregnancies have been healthy, all kinds of things, right?
Yes. So there's a lot of different complications within pregnancy or postpartum that can disqualify you right off the bat. It's things like gestational hypertension or diabetes or hemorrhaging or things that would put you at risk, because of course what they really want is to make sure that the surrogate is going to be healthy and then can help carry a healthy baby.
Right.
So once that's approved and you can proceed from there, you then get the psychological screening, and that is meeting with a mental health professional, often a doctorate within the field, so a psychiatrist or a psychologist who does these types of interviews.
They've got a set of questions.
Yeah, they already know what they're doing. They're in it for this specifically to do these interviews, and I have to do a lovely 300 plus question personality test. I have to answer questions.
And they were like, you like the outdoors and you're extroverted. And you're like, I know. Like,
yeah, exactly. Well, what's crazy though is they don't ever share the results. So yeah, they just say if I'm cleared or not. But they ask about support. Who do you have in your life?
Right.
You know, what's your belief on therapy? Like, would you be willing to go get support if you do need mental health support through this process?
Another question is, are you done having your own children? I remember you telling us that the other day when we met, and
yeah,
I was like, oh, right. Because during any pregnancy, you know, like anything could happen. And so, right. Is it for that reason? If something were to...
The risk is real for losing a reproductive organ and
your life.
Yeah. And I don't think people realize that, because pregnancy and family building and all this, unless you've gone through the infertility process, which is a horrendous process and I'd never wish it on anybody, you don't really know all the risks and things that could potentially pop up. And so they're screening to make sure that I'm in my right mind, that I'm making this decision on my own, that I'm not being coerced by anybody or anything. My partner has to approve too. So he has to be a part of this. And if he says, I don't feel comfortable, I can't be a carrier.
Right.
Like that's it.
It is a total team effort.
Yes.
Wow. And it's expensive.
It's very expensive. Yeah. Thankfully for me, as the surrogate or the gestational carrier, I don't have to put forth any of my own money. It should never cost the carrier anything out of pocket. Now, of course, I might have to pay like co-pays, but I get reimbursed.
Oh, right.
I was going to say, you're probably also compensated, right? In some way. So
there's a lot of people who will do it without what they call base comp, so base compensation, which is essentially like a form of child support while you're carrying. So it's not an employee-employer relationship. It's just, hey, you're carrying my child. I'm going to support my kid while you're pregnant type of thing.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about this next bunch of intended parents. Bunch, as though there's like 12 of them.
I mean, are there? I mean, I'm just
pair of intended parents?
It's a pair, yes. So, ironically, I retired. I was done.
Oh, carrying.
Yeah, I wasn't going to do another surrogacy journey. My husband and I had talked about it. We had made our decision. I was, for the most part, okay with that decision. And then my lovely case manager at Family Makers reaches out and is just going off about, hey, we have this wonderful couple and they would be perfect for you and they're local and their embryos are at the same clinic that you just worked with, who's also wonderful. So we were working with ACRM in Atlanta and they're phenomenal. Like they're amazing. And she was like, so you don't have to travel for medical screening or transfer?
And you were like, what are you about to ask me?
Yeah, and I'm like, what?
Get to the point.
What is happening? Yeah. And she of course is like, if you would even consider it, we can share their profile so you can read about them. And so of course I'm like, oh, okay. I have to talk to my husband about this because we were done. But of course, like this is something I'm healthy. I can do it. I want to do it. This is a no-brainer for me. And so it took a couple of months, but I got Kevin on the same page with me. He finally was just like, but this is the last time.
All together now.
Yeah, this is the last time, which a lot of clinics after the 5th pregnancy, they're going to say no because you've already had a lot.
After the 5th total pregnancy in your entire life, or the 5th time that you've had an embryo transferred, or?
It depends on the clinic. This would be my 5th total.
Okay.
We ended up reading the profile. I loved everything about them. They're a super sweet family.
Oh.
And we got to do the match call with them, which is like a Zoom meeting to meet them.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
And you're like, hi. And they're like,
hi. And they're like, can we see your uterus real quick? I'm just kidding.
Well, they're not doctors, so they wouldn't know what they were looking at anyways.
This is weird, but sure. No.
So we fell in love with them.
Oh, wow.
So what they've said, they've fallen in love with me as well. And we've come to find out after the fact that they were the Surrogacy Foundation's grantees for this year.
What does that mean?
So the Surrogacy Foundation is a nonprofit in Atlanta, which local to me. So of course I'm all about it.
Yeah.
It started with 2 intended parents who had to go through the surrogacy journey on their own. The mom was a breast cancer survivor. So with treatments, they didn't know how that was going to affect her fertility. So they went ahead and froze some embryos prior and were able to then proceed with surrogacy after treatment. And she was all clear. And it's expensive and they knew it. So thankfully they were able to make it work for their family, but not everybody has those resources. So they were like, hey, we're going to start a grant, essentially.
Wow.
This is, I believe, the 3rd year that they've done this. They won $100K to go towards a surrogacy journey.
Wow.
Which is a significant chunk because The average is 150,000.
Wow. So the average cost of the whole process is usually 150,000 from like retrieving eggs, like
because there's like fertility clinics involved. There's also like legal contracts involved. So it's like you're paying doctors and lawyers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on if the parents go an independent journey or if they go through an agency, there's agency fees because the agencies are kind of like the middlemen between us and the providers and all of that, which I've worked with family makers every journey. I wouldn't do an independent at this point because I'm so reliant on them. They set up all my medical appointments and they do everything for me.
It's organized.
If I ever have any issues, I get to reach out and ask questions. And same for the parents. Like they get to talk to them too.
Yeah.
So it's convenient, but I'm excited.
Wow. That's incredible.
Okay. I have follow-up questions.
Go for it.
Okay. So like, do they come to appointments? Like, do they come to like a 20-week ultrasound or anything like that? Like, how does this work? Like,
is every family different or?
Yes. Yeah. It's very dependent on the carrier and the intended parents and in location too. So my first set of IPs were states away.
IP, intended parent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm so used to saying IPs, but yeah, so they were so far away that they couldn't come to every appointment. Also during COVID, travel was kind of restricted to begin with.
Right.
So it makes it a little bit more difficult, but because these parents are half an hour from me, essentially, they can come to any appointment that they want.
Wow.
Of course, it has to be agreed upon and what's comfortable with each party and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But my last parents that I worked with, the mom came to every single appointment. So she got to be present when we had the heartbeat confirmation.
Oh, gosh.
When we did all the ultrasounds, seeing the baby, like she was there for everything.
That's so cool.
Whoa.
Yeah. She was there at delivery too.
And these other parents are also local. So
yes,
they'll maybe be able to be there for things again.
That's the plan.
I have like a privacy / logistic question.
Yeah.
So the agency organizes all the appointments and stuff. Like, do you like communicate through the agency? Do you like text each other? Like, just had a smoothie, feeling lots of kicks. Like,
yeah.
Drank ice water.
Yeah.
Yeah. That also is dependent upon the relationship that develops. So luckily for me, I've had great experiences and I will text directly with my intended parents.
Okay.
We've actually hung out with our kids and spouses already.
Like the family that you're about to.
Family. Yeah.
Okay. Ah!
Yes. Yeah. The current family, we went to a local, it's a winery and farm. So we brought our kids. They got to play with horses and cows and pigs and ducks and all of that. So they had a blast. We're really close. And I'm very close too with the last set of IPs since they were local as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen them on and off every, couple of months. I was at the baby's first birthday party. We're just extended family.
Oh my gosh. I keep tearing up this whole episode.
Okay. So you've had textbook labors and deliveries. I'm thinking especially about the intended parents that were states away. Labor is super unpredictable. So you're like, I don't know, I'm feeling twinges. And they're like, do we get on a flight or not? Like, how does that work? Are the parents there?
So again, it's dependent upon the parents. It all depends. Most of the time, though, at least from what I've seen in my contracts, it's, hey, a month before they're going to be on standby, or, one of them may fly down and stay with family or, just work remotely if they have to get a hotel, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just to be near the hospital. My first surrogacy journey, though, was a little crazy, a little hectic. My water broke at 35 weeks.
Oh, Charlotte.
And so that was not textbook. And I had to call the agency, which I could have called the parents, but at that point I was like, I'm assuming my water broke. I don't want to be one of those people that just thinks that my water broke, and it's really I just peed
myself. I mean, we've all done that, okay?
So I did go. I got checked. They did their little swab. Like, yes, this is amniotic fluid. Yep. So thankfully, the parents were able to get on the next flight the next morning. They got a flight in. It was like a 6 a.m. flight. Made it to the hospital that afternoon. And then when they made it, I knew, okay, I can get up, walk around, start this whole labor process, because I had been laying down in bed trying not to have contractions.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want labor to start.
Right.
So they made it. Whew. Yes, they were there, both of them.
That was lucky. As we know, we're not in charge of labor progressing or not.
Right.
We can't will those babies out.
You can do some things to help them along.
Yeah.
Which I'm very much so one of those people that I know the tricks and I'm going to use them when I have to.
So you're like, I'm not moving. Their flight's at 6 a.m.
Yes, they made it. The baby was born a couple of hours after they arrived because I was like, it's time to go. And then the next baby, she was born at, I believe it was 37 weeks. We had just made it full term and she was ready. So she came on Easter Sunday. I was getting ready for church, actually. And I'm like, these don't feel like Braxton Hicks contractions. These are real.
You're like, I don't think I'm going to church today.
Yeah, I kind of had to tell Kevin, can you drop the kids off at my parents' house? We're going to
swing me by the childbirth center. That'd be great.
Yeah. Yep.
So here's a question. This is another personal question. Feel free to answer or not.
Yeah.
Is your husband there with you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like when you're delivering.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And are they in the room? Like
the whole crew's there.
The whole crew. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not a shy person. I mean, my first set of IPs were 2 men.
Oh, incredible.
They were in there. One of them actually helped during the labor process, be a support person, which was awesome.
Oh.
The other one was a little weirded out by female parts. So he was like, I'm going to be in the back so I can't see anything. Which is fine. There's plenty
I was like, oh my God, is that a vagina?
Yes. So he was hidden. Totally fine. The second time, it was just the mom that was there, but that was because they had a child already.
Yeah.
And so you can't bring a toddler into labor and delivery. So
right.
Yeah, weirdly they get into things.
Yeah, weirdly. They can cause other issues. My husband, though, it's funny because I have done all 4 labors and deliveries without any type of extra medication or anything. Thankfully, they progressed fairly quickly. And he actually looked over at the mom, who was completely in tears, by the way, the whole time. It was so sweet. She was just so emotional and ready to meet her baby girl.
Yeah.
I have pictures, actually, that I can show you off camera if you want to see her.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
I can't let the public see because that's confidentiality.
Sorry, guys.
So.
Yes.
Sorry, but you guys are welcome to see.
Yes, we're in the club.
My husband actually turned to the mom at one point. He basically said, you hear that noise that she's making right now? The baby will be here in half an hour. He knows me to the T. That baby was born 23 minutes later.
He's like, the octave changed. It's game time.
She went from to
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So he's there every time.
Wow.
That is so cool.
Do you feel bonded with the parents? I mean, there's no wrong answer here. I'm like, it's such an emotional thing bringing a baby into this world.
Yeah. I essentially get extra family members for life.
Oh my gosh, you get to screen your family members, future family members.
Yes. I mean, it's similar to friendships, right? You get to choose that family. That's your chosen family.
Yeah.
It is very similar.
Do intended parents have a list of possible carriers that they can choose from? Is it mutual? They choose you and ask if you're available, and you're like, I don't know. Let me check out your profile.
It's like online dating. Yeah, it's very much so. This is how I like to describe it. Not that I've had the experience, but I've worked with a lot of people who've done online dating. It's kind of like the swipe left, swipe right. You get profiles presented to you. Yes, I'd like to talk with them further. No, I would not. We don't align on some very core beliefs or values. This would not work out.
Yeah.
so we're not going to talk with them. But essentially, once you get a profile and you decide, okay, I like what I'm reading, they seem like the type of person that would, mesh well with our family, then I want to proceed. And so that's when a match meeting happens.
Okay, cool. And then you like slide into each other's Zooms and
yeah. And then you decide after that, do we proceed or not?
Wow. Like so many things have to align for this baby.
So many things.
Okay. So you carry this baby. I had like pain in my bones towards the end, like in my like hips and pelvis and like whatever. So you're like, going through all of the physicality of this. And then you're like handing this baby over. What is that process like? Because I am speaking literally just for myself, but there were times where I was like, somebody come get this. Like, I'm all done. Yeah. But that was me needing more help or more support or like more sleep than I was getting.
Yeah.
This is a very different thing than that.
Yeah.
But is it hard?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's hard on just the biological factor of you've had a baby and now you don't. So it's a little interesting for your brain to kind of comprehend. But thankfully for me, we get this question all the time, and it's very much so a stereotype of, oh, how do you give a baby away? How do you give a baby away? Well, I'm not. I'm giving them back.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's a great frame.
This is their baby. This baby is not related to me. And I know that. And I can distance myself enough to where I get to still love this baby. I get to care for this baby while I'm carrying it. But the moment that umbilical cord is severed, they're the parents. It's their baby.
Wow. Yeah.
I think of it more so of, oh, now I get to rest. I get to sleep.
Also, you're like, I think your baby just pooped, so.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I don't have to care for the newborn.
Yeah.
My job is done. I did my part.
Yeah.
You like get to be like the preschool teacher or like the fun aunt. You get to do like an important part, but you're like,
here you go.
Cool. Now
take it back.
Tag you're it.
Not mine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Best of luck. Good luck with newborn sleep deprivation.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So do other surrogates, like, do you know other surrogates? You have like other surrogate friends or other gestational carrier friends, I guess?
Not necessarily friends as in the social aspect, but I do support groups for carriers. I'm in plenty of Facebook support group type things with other carriers and surrogates. So I'm within the realm where I can see a lot of stories, hear a lot of stories with them.
Like hear different variations.
Yes. Yeah. Different stories. And there are some people out there that they'll get hit with PPD very hard because of the hormones, because they don't have baby. They don't know what to do at that point because, most of the time they then start lactating and they don't have a baby to nurse. And what do I do? And
that was going to be one of my questions is like, do folks like pump and then deliver milk? Like, is that, I mean, you'd have to be close enough geographically to.
You can ship all over this.
Oh, that's true. I guess you could ship it.
So that's a common thing that you would agree upon ahead of time. Yeah. Like, what's the plan for feeding? And it's either, so you can choose whether, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I, with my first set of intended parents, I did not pump for them specifically because the cost would be too high to ship.
Oh,
right.
It's usually asked, can you do replacement parts for the pumps? Can you pay for the milk storage bags, that kind of thing? Because it does add up. It's expensive.
Yeah.
And so they opted out, which is fine because they had already had another baby through surrogacy. And so they were accustomed to formula. And
they were happy with that.
Yeah. We like it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. I didn't want to go without pumping though. So I still pumped for others.
Oh, interesting. Charlotte. That's incredible.
So how long did you pump for? And like, what was do you find that's helpful? Like, I remember my postpartum experience and weaning was also like a difficult sort of shift in hormones. And then like my emotional state also.
Similar when you're pumping?
No, thankfully, I think it was more emotional weaning with my own kids than weaning from pumping because there was never that bond to a baby, that connection.
Oh, right.
Because my daughter, she weaned herself at 10 months and I was devastated.
And you were like, excuse me.
Yeah, I wanted to make it past 12 months, but I had gone back to work in an office. So she was getting pumped milk in a bottle for that majority of her infant time. And so that was very hard for me. And then when it came to my son, I was like, you're a year, you're done. I want my body back. So two very different experiences. But I pumped for the Preemie Milk Bank, the PMB bank, and it's for very, very medically sensitive, just not great shape preemies. And they make essentially like a formula powder with breast milk to help.
Oh, wow. So it could be shipped anywhere. You don't have to worry. People don't have to worry about it being frozen. Oh my gosh.
But you got to think too, critical preemies that are in critical health. It's hard for healthy newborns full term to take some of the formulas. So this is just something to help them. Yeah. So I did that. And then a couple local moms too. Actually, a friend of mine, I donated milk to her because she had a traumatic C-section and couldn't produce milk. So that was a big deal for her. She wanted to breastfeed. And so I got to kind of help her supplement with that.
That's so cool.
Charlotte, you're like the biggest helper on this planet.
Which is so funny because I don't ever think about that. Like the whole idea with surrogacy and any of the things I do, I'm just like, yep, let's do it. There's no, like, I don't think more about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like you're not like, look at me, I'm helping. You're just like, this feels like the right thing to do.
Yes. And people all the time will stop me and they want to ask about the surrogacy and how I do it and why I do it and all this. I'm like, I don't know. My body is made to have babies, so I'm using it for that. Like, why would I not do this?
Wow.
Do you think sometimes people are like expecting a certain type of response? Like, oh, we have massive credit card debt and I'm getting a big fat check or something? Like, I don't.
Which is crazy because you have to be financially stable to be a carrier.
Yeah. Like you can't be in it for the money. Like.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't be on any type of government assistance. You can't be on any type of like, I don't know what the programs are called, but a program if you're in debt, need help, like none of that
like
stuff.
Like a debt relief program or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you. Words.
I would assume that it's right up there with, okay, like this is a little bit different, but like I live in the DC area. So like they're always talking about like national security issues and stuff, right? So like if you are in debt, then you're more able to be exploited by like a spy or something. Like, but it's similar to that in that if you were in trouble or something, then is it going to turn into anything other than I'm doing this because this feels like the right thing to do?
Right.
And because I enjoy being pregnant, but have no interest in
parenting,
being awake all night long with a newborn.
Again.
Yeah.
All done.
Yes, all done.
We're going to have to do a follow-up because like, I wonder how this, hopefully like full-term pregnancy, will go knowing that it's your last time carrying another family's baby. Like, I wonder how that'll feel. TBD.
Sad.
Oh.
Yeah.
How are you feeling emotionally?
Sad.
We're going to check in. We're going to do check-ins.
Can you guys be my therapist too? No.
Oh, we are not qualified to do that, but
I know,
we could be peer support.
I have a therapist for this.
Oh, so, good.
Yes.
When you are carrying, do you like have more therapy sessions than usual? Or are you like?
Yeah, no, it's important, but being a therapist myself, it would be pretty hypocritical if I didn't think that it was necessary or want
like
to.
I don't need therapy. Really, Charlotte?
I don't have anything to talk about. Okay.
Yeah. I enjoy getting to have somebody that I can share all the details with because, I mean, most of the time you can't share details of who the parents are, where they're at, in anything about them. But with a therapist, it's more so of you are confined by HIPAA. And I know, confidentiality wise, I can talk about what I need to talk about and what may be coming up through our journey and get the support without breaking any of the confidentiality that I'm upheld to working with these parents.
Yeah. Therapy's where it's at. We're with you.
Okay, so aside from being a gestational carrier, how else are you helping folks in the perinatal period?
Well, I'm a climb leader, so
What?
yeah.
Long time climb leader.
Long time. I honestly, I don't even remember what first time I did it. It's been
I know. I'm like, has it been 5 years maybe?
I
Yeah.
think so. I think I started before my son, and he's 5. But yeah, I've been a climb leader, and I also volunteer for PSI as a specialized support coordinator. So I am the gestational carrier, intended parent, surrogacy person. So if anybody has questions or if somebody is going through the journey themselves, regardless of what side they're on, they get to chat with me.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So I have a follow-up question there. If somebody is listening and they like had questions, like it would be another surrogate that would be asking you
Or
questions.
the intended parent,
Or
right?
the intended parents, yeah. They could reach both of them.
Great. And so then they would just connect with the PSI. They go onto like PSI's website, onto the support coordinator page, and like fill out a request. Okay, cool. We'll put a link to that in the show notes for anybody that might be interested in
connecting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so when's your climb? It'll have maybe already happened by the time this airs, but I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. So it's June 21st. I try to stick with what date is closest to the summer solstice just because that was the original plan behind it.
Yes.
Once upon a time, it was a bright, sunshiny day.
Yes. Yep.
But this episode might air before then. So if anybody is in North Georgia, we'll put a link to your team's event info. So if anybody is like in that area and is that okay? Can I do that?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they could come. They could donate. Hello.
If anybody wants to attend a climb event, for any listeners who don't know, a climb is what?
It's the largest fundraiser and awareness event for perinatal mental health hosted by Postpartum Support International.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's a place where parents and providers can come together and people can connect with each other. Parents can connect with other parents. Parents can learn about really awesome resources in their community. Like, I didn't even know about pelvic floor physical therapists when I was pregnant or even newly postpartum. It wasn't until 8 years postpartum that I was like, excuse me, what? Yeah. There's a possibility that I can one day jump on a trampoline again without, an incident. Cool. I'll do that. So also, if there are any parents listening that have never seen a pelvic floor physical therapist and you're unable to jump on a trampoline or run more than a mile without,
go find a climb near you so you can connect to your local physical therapist.
Yeah. It's never too late. It's okay. But it's just a cool place for all those types of connections and feeling a sense of community and getting resources, local resources, and resources that PSI offers to people all over the country. So
yeah, I make it a big point too to have all the local businesses that deal with anything when it comes to families to show up. So we're going to have a lot of people that are tabled at the event.
Yeah.
Free to attend, free fun, free resources, lots of fun. Awesome. We'll put a link to that.
And sometimes there are snacks. So
I always have food.
Oh, well, there you go. All of North Georgia is going to flock to your event on June 21st.
Yes.
Bring it on.
Good times.
Are we ready to jump into the lightning round? Is there anything, Charlotte, that we missed talking about that you might want to mention? This entire episode, I've had a flood of questions just swirling around my brain, and I'm like trying to have some sense of organization in here because I just feel like maybe we should have a follow-up episode and see how things went at some point.
You should just write down all of your questions. We can do a follow-up episode and we'll get through all of them.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Thanks, Charlotte. Good thing a therapist is here.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, are you ready for the lightning round?
I'm ready.
Okay, Charlotte, besides this podcast, obviously, what's your favorite podcast if you have one that you'd like to recommend to our listeners?
Second favorite.
Yes, I love Mom and Mine by Dr. Kat.
Oh, God,
okay.
Dr. Kat. We love you, Dr. Kat.
I was in love with her and knew about her prior to her joining PSI.
Oh.
I met her. I got to meet her at one of the conferences.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a fangirl moment where I was just like, it's so nice to meet you. I know who you are.
I don't know what you're talking about. When I first met Kat, my palms were so sweaty. I was like,
it's you. You're real.
Oh my God, you're 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
She is the loveliest. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Mom and Mind. We'll put a link to Kat's podcast in the show notes. Everybody should listen to it if you're interested. It's like, it's not just for professionals either. That's what I loved about it, because that was the first podcast I listened to that had anything to do with perinatal mental health when I was kind of like wading into the advocacy world. Like, I was like, wow, I could be an advocate for perinatal mental health. And the episodes are digestible for professionals, for folks that have no prior training in perinatal mental health.
They're so informative too.
Yes, they're great.
Yes.
They're lovely. And so is Kat. She talks about all the things. There are, I think, over 400 episodes to choose from now because
#goals.
She's been doing it for a minute. Yeah. So, okay. Awesome. Great podcast recommendation.
Okay, next question. We need to add things to our Netflix or our podcast queues or our next thing to watch. So have you watched or read or listened to anything really, really good?
I'm actually, so right now I'm not binge watching anything. We're kind of in between shows. But reading wise, I'm one of those crazy people that I'll read a physical book and have an audiobook going at the same time. So I have two different books, different ones that I'm listening to.
Okay.
So on audio, I'm listening to The Soul of an Octopus, which is a very interesting nonfiction. It's a research writer who talks about her experience in the aquarium world and meeting an octopus and kind of describing humanity and all of that stuff and how that applies to other creatures.
The Soul of an Octopus. Okay.
Yeah. And then physical book that I'm reading right now was a random book find because my daughter and I like to go and wander into bookstores sometimes when we're out in public. And my husband's like, yeah, but of course he's like, all right, how much did it cost this time?
Oh, he's like, 2 books max. That's it.
Yeah. You're like, but I'm reading.
We got 1 book apiece.
Okay.
I got summer workbooks for them, for my kids. But for myself, I got Meditations for Mortals. And it's not actually like a meditation book, but it's a digestible 4-week book. You read 1 chapter a day.
Oh, short chapters or long chapters?
Very short.
Cool.
Very short. They're like 4 or 5 pages short.
Oh, wow.
But you read 1 chapter a day for 4 weeks. And essentially what it talks about is our limitations as humans and our finite time and how to get rid of that idea of we're going to be on top of it. We're going to figure it out. We can get all the things done that we want to because that's impossible with a finite amount of time. And so it's acknowledging our limitations and therefore making it less anxiety provoking and easier for us to figure out what we want to do with our time. What's more important.
Whoa. Okay.
That's both on a hour-to-hour or day-to-day level and on a in your lifetime level. Like the number of times I've said out loud, I wish there were more hours in the day.
Yep. I do that too.
But maybe that's like the wrong approach.
Maybe we're not supposed to do all the things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a great book recommendation.
Yeah. I'm on day 4 of it. I just started it. I love it.
Oh, okay. Glowing recommendation 4 days in.
Yeah.
Man, that sounds like a good one. I'm like, man, I'm actually excited. I'm not disappointed. I'm just like, oh, man. Well, there goes my paycheck.
Gonna need to get it.
Gonna need a bigger shelf.
The library should have it, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Libby. Yeah.
Love me the Libby app.
I know.
Yes.
Because you can you can request physical copies of books or audiobooks.
Yeah. I usually use it for audio because I don't want to pay for Audible or anything else.
Yeah.
So I just, why not? They're free. It's.
We should get sponsored by Libby. Hey, Libby, call us. All right. Charlotte, what's your best parenting hack?
That's a great question because I'm one of those people that it depends on the day, but I'm not a big fan of hacks because every family and every child is different.
Okay, you're so right.
It's hard, but I do know for me, what helps is when I'm overwhelmed, because I'm a highly sensitive person and so are my children. So HSPs.
Yes.
There's 3 of us in the house and my poor husband. It's just.
He's like, I'll just be over here.
Yeah, it's like.
I'll just be over here trying not to like let you feel my feelings or something.
Yes. Yeah. So I constantly remind myself, like, this is my problem, not theirs. Like, I have to deal with myself so that they can then learn how to deal with theirs. And so being able to tell myself this is developmentally appropriate. They're supposed to respond this way. They're supposed to not be able to manage or regulate
Child
their
development
emotions.
is the worst.
It's hard. But that's, if I can keep my calm and not join in on their chaos, then our household is much more peaceful.
Yes.
Like, they're not personally attacking me. They're feeling
It's not
big.
personal.
Yeah. It's business. I'm just kidding.
Business.
It's not personal. It's business. I think that was from You've Got Mail. Anyway, I'm quoting movies.
Okay.
Emily. Oh, wait. I'm going to ask the next question. I'm sneaking in. Charlotte, what is one way that you're going to show yourself a little radical love today? Radical
love. I think practicing what I've read in my recent book, the Meditations for Mortals. Yeah. By acknowledging that we don't have a lot of time in the day and or in life, and I'm going to enjoy it. So my daughter has a softball game tonight, and I am an assistant coach, which is
okay. Another thing. Oh yeah, I'm also an assistant softball coach.
It's another thing.
Cool.
I mean, I played softball throughout college, so it makes sense because, like,
did you?
I did.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I went on a scholarship to a D2 school.
Charlotte.
Okay.
What position did you play, or positions?
Well, so throughout most of my adolescence, I played shortstop, but in college I played outfield. So right field, center field, left field, like it depended on what the team needed at the time. I was there.
You could throw people out at home, I bet.
Shortstop, that's the one with the ball.
Yeah, Emily.
I'm kidding.
We're talking about sports ball right now.
Yeah. We used to play a game where from the outfield, we would have to knock a ball off of a bat, or we would have to get into a bucket or a trash can. And I was one that was like,
boom, that was your
I
jam.
could do that.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. She gave Ichiro some tips, although he was a right fielder, wasn't he? Anyway, never mind. Okay. Emily, let's get back on track. What's the next question?
Okay. What is one thing that today you could go back in time and tell, let's say, maybe the you that didn't know that what was happening was clinical, or the you that first heard about surrogacy? I don't know. Where are we going?
Yeah. I think maybe just in general, going back, maybe pre-me, before I even had my first, you don't have to do it all. I'm a firstborn daughter to an immigrant. Like I'm very high achieving. Like that's my mentality. That's my mindset of you have to do it. It's the mom guilt would come in like, oh, I need to be doing this for my kid. I'm the one who's supposed to be doing X, Y, and Z and all of that. No, the vacuuming, the laundry, the dishes, it can wait.
Yes.
Love on your baby and
yourself
and myself. Yeah. And just be there, exist. And that's okay. That's already enough. You don't have to earn your existence.
Oh, dang. Write that down. You don't have to earn your existence.
I'm going to put that on a shirt.
You're already adequate as you are.
Boom.
There it is. Follow-up question. How do you take your water?
Ice cold. If there's not a bunch of ice cubes, I don't want it. Because I used to drink just room temp water because it's technically better for you. It's just, that's closer to your body temperature.
When we tabled at the MHA conference, we heard that over and over.
Yeah.
Like room temperature because it is better for me. And we were like, but it's hot outside.
It's gross though. I can't anymore.
Yeah, but it's gross.
It's gross. Yeah. I want ice. It needs to be partially frozen.
Yes. I am an HSP and I agree with the whole temperature of the water thing. Charlotte and I are basically like, we're on the same page.
The same. You should have played softball and not soccer.
I did play softball, but then I had to choose a sport. And I flipped a coin. And
literally?
yes.
What?
I loved softball. I probably would have been better at it, but then I was at soccer. I was okay at soccer. Not great, but
I never wanted to play soccer because that involved more running. Like, I don't want to have to run the whole game.
I played second base and center field, but I don't know that I could knock a ball off the bat, though. Oh my gosh, Charlotte! Next time I see you, we should play catch.
Okay,
bring your gloves.
Let's do it. Okay.
Okay. Are you coming to the conference? Because
I mean, I'll come to the conference if I can get a ticket. You know,
I'm an aquatic life form. I'll just be in the pool watching. Okay, like
sounds good.
Okay, I think we've come to the end. Charlotte, right, Emily?
Yeah, I mean, we need to know how people can get a hold of her, aside from needing to get help being coordinated as a gestational carrier or intended parent.
Yeah.
How else can we stalk you on the internet?
Well, I mean, anybody is welcome to go to my website and reach out or to contact me through my email. I have a private practice, which is called Cherokee Rose Counseling and Consulting. So if you just want to look up CherokeeRoseCC.com, or my email is cramberg@CherokeeRoseCC.com. I'm there.
We will drop the link to your website and your email address in the show notes so folks can reach out to you. You are in North Georgia. Man, how lucky your clients are to have you. I am on the search for a new therapist, and I just know how important it is to have such an incredible person. And so your clients are very lucky.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. Charlotte, we're so glad that you were here today. Emily, can you take us out?
Absolutely. All right, Charlotte, this was a unique and wonderful conversation. I think giving other people the gift of the family that they want, the family that they maybe desperately need, is so huge. And I think making people aware of some of the incorrect assumptions and some of the unseen hard work that goes in on both sides of this relationship has been wonderful. So tell those intended parents to call us. We will talk to them too.
Mm-hmm.
I am really looking forward to seeing all of this unfold for you again, because you've been a client leader for a while. I've watched you carry many a baby. So Thank you so much for sharing your story. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to the I Am One podcast. Check out today's show notes where we'll drop links to all the important things that we mentioned in this episode. Please consider sharing about I Am One on social media and following and rating our show wherever it is that you listen to podcasts. It only takes a minute of your time and, well, that'll help our collective mission of bringing resources and local support to folks worldwide. From everyone here at PSI, thanks again for listening.